Hey, listen to Commander Cookout Podcast, episode 74. I'm Brando. I'm here with Ryan, and today we're going to take on a listener challenge and take on the worst Commander pre-con deck of all time. Now hit our theme song! Hey, Ryan. We're back for yet another whirlwind adventure. How you doing?
Good. What's going down?
Whole ton is going down. We're really scraping the bottom of the pre-constructed Commander toilet today. Not even the barrel, the toilet, because this deck was a piece of shit when it was released. And it was a piece of shit when it was re-released in Commander's Arsenal.
Yeah, this deck, I think, is where somebody in prison would tie this deck in a little plastic bag with a piece of, string and dip it down into the toilet drain so, when the guards search for stuff, they can't find it. Because they don't even want the guards to know that they own this deck when they're in prison.
Yeah, that would lower your street cred in jail.
Yeah, now here's the thing, though. I picture a world where you sit down and you play this deck.
And everybody laughs at you.
But then you combo all over their face and they cry because they stoop to getting this deck comboed onto their face for very little money. Wait, that's the internet at large.
Yeah. Don't Google that also.
No, just forget everything I said except for comboing. Anyways, who are we talking about today?
Kalemne, disciple of Iroas. Who is Eros?
Iroas was a place in Theros?
You can't be the disciple of a place. The place doesn't teach you anything. Even the wording on the card is bad.
Unless it wasn't a place, in which case...
You just said it was a place, Ryan.
I don't know.
You just said it was a place. Just said.
Yeah, she's just...
It's bad. We'll read her later.
Okay, here's the thing. You said something funny before we recorded about how this deck got reprinted was the thing that bugged you the worst about it. What bugs me the most as a former, higher level track and field coach is her running mechanics. They can't even get it right. Her arm is crossing her body and the other one's behind her, and she's on sideways. Oh, just everything about this card.
I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but you know how they drew her? They draw her running like a girl. When you make fun of somebody for running like a girl, it's because they're doing that. That's what running like a girl, air quotes, looks like. And dudes do that too.
But Dr. Evil's son on Austin Powers 2 or 3 when he runs like a girl.
Yeah.
Super funny.
That's exactly what she's doing.
Yep.
They couldn't even make her look super badass, like she's going to kick your ass. It looks like she's going to run statistically slower than somebody who runs properly.
You know what's awesome is we can rag on this pre-con because we're not giving it away.
Yeah. We can take a big dump on this one, and that's awesome.
Speaking of which, why don't you run over the latest giveaway details and mention our Facebook page where you can find it all in social media shoutouts.
Let's do social media coordinates. We are CCOPodcast on Twitter and tappedout.net. That's where you can see this week's list, last week's list, and any other list that we talk about throughout the course of the arc and the show. Or commandercookout@gmail.com. That's where you can send us love mail, hate mail, show suggestions for decks you'd like to see us tackle in this arc, as this was one of those. But no nudes.
Not even Kalemne nudes. Watch, we're going to get one now.
Yeah, we're probably going to. You got to stop saying stuff like that. We're also Commander Cookout on iTunes, Google Play, Google Machine, Facebook, Patreon, edhrec.com, Podomatic, where we have usurped the ninnies, flipsidegaming.com, where you can use promo code CCOFU to get 10% off your entire order, and the official home of Commander Cookout Podcast on the internet, commandercookout.com.
Nice.
Thanks.
I actually have a shopping cart built on flipsidegaming.com to buy one of the cards that I want to put in my version of Kalemne. I'm kind of smitten by it. We dumped all over it. We poo-pooed, if you will. And I kind of want to build it.
Well, you want to build our version of it, though, not the Wizards version. Nobody's pining for the Wizard version of this deck.
Here's the thing. I own the Wizards version, so I have a Kalemne, which is basically the only thing that is staying in the final version. I also don't want to build the version that we built that's on tappedout.net. I built that as if that was the pre-con, because this is the arc of who wore it better. I think that we did a better job with the list that's on Tapped Out. I want to build a combo version of Kalemne.
We'll talk about that later after we've talked about this. We'll tease it a little bit.
Yeah, we'll talk about them both because I think that CCO Nation will appreciate sitting down with a Boros deck and taking a giant crap on everybody else's super tuned, super expensive combo decks, and this one won't even cost you $200.
I like that.
Yeah.
Unless you have to buy it in Commander's Arsenal, in which case it'll cost you way more than $200.
Okay, yeah, it'll cost you $200 anyways. Just skip it, head somewhere online, maybe flipsidegaming.com, CCOFU promo code, and just buy a Kalemne.
That's all you need.
Anyways, we're giving out C18 deck list of a listener's choice should they win our giveaway.
Yep, any Commander list from this year, there's 4 of them. We have them. They're in boxes. They're very pretty. We will send you one of your choice. If you like, share, follow us on Facebook or any of the contest posts, help us spread the reach of the show.
Yeah, what do we call that? We need a name for our reach. What do we call that? The CCO gospel? That's kind of church related. Remember we were taking down the church?
Have we taken down the church?
No.
I guess they're still around.
Yeah. They are fading though. Hey, church is hard times. It's like it's...
You know what? Really like people like us way more than they like the church these days. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. There's not as much CCO nationalites as religious people though.
That is true. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll work on that next.
Yeah, get on it, CCO Nation.
Yeah, that's the next step. We'll come up with a word for that later on.
Sure.
Hashtag it. It'll be awesome.
Shoutouts?
Shoutouts.
Shout out to real life nickname The Deech.
The Deech.
Yeah. Patron. Thank you very much. Shout out Lenny Wooly Broader. Remember we made fun of his name?
How could we not make fun of his name?
My favorite part was meeting Lenny in Vegas and meeting him. Okay, cool. But then later that day we met Don Miner from EDH Rec.
.com.
And he says, yeah, some dude met me and didn't know who I was except for you guys calling me an asshole on your show. Yeah. So shout out to Lenny. He sent in a Kalemne deck. And while this is very loosely based on his list, we tweaked like 90% of the cards.
Yes.
So
yeah, we actually had a couple of people message us over social media platforms of various types and say, hey, you should do Kalemne. It'll be super awesome. And we looked at each other like, no, it won't be.
No.
Because it's Kalemne.
Suck.
Yeah.
It'll suck.
But here we are doing it.
Should we get into it?
Sure.
That was hesitation in your voice and face.
It's Boros, man. Boros EDH, typically the least interesting of the EDH. And I hate to say that before we talk about it, but it's the truth.
So here's the thing. We both like playing red.
Yeah.
You like mono red.
I love red.
And red's got its own kind of niche way of card advantage with like chaos draws or rummaging or exiling and casting until end of turn type thing. How come everybody says that Boros doesn't have card advantage when it has access to red? And how come nobody rags on mono white like they rag on Boros? Is that weird?
I think it's a stars in the eyes thing, because you look at mono white and like, oh, angels are awesome. My girlfriend loves angels.
Ugh.
You know, I think that's what it is. Or you can do those brutal 75 sweeper white decks.
I suppose, yeah.
You know?
You could do, and white's got stacks, right? Like the Dust Drinkers and the Thalias and the blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay.
Before we go on any further, real quick aside, stacks question, building it, putting it together. I actually have a pile of physical cards now.
Oh.
How do I win?
You know what? The thing about stacks, I think, is you don't try and win. You're trying to not lose.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay.
All right.
Just try not to lose until you see an opening somewhere where you can just like take somebody out at the knees or something.
Okay. CCO Brando, if you know how to win with a stacks deck. Green, black, get at me. Anyway.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's why nobody rags on mono white, because mono white has the appearance of being amazing. As much as I hate white, I know that white isn't the strongest color. I just hate white, probably because white typically beats red. And I like red.
I suppose white can go over the top of red. Red will go wider a lot easier, right? But Boros. Okay, so here's the thing about Boros. Every single goddamn Boros commander we get is turn all your guys sideways. Attack, attack, attack. Da, 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 da. I'm thinking like Aurelia and Gisela and Tajik and Jorkadine. These are all common Boros commanders that all want you to attack. They all encourage pumping your guys. They all encourage double damage or getting bigger. And Kalemne's not really any different when you look at her pre-con from 2015. They're all the same.
You know who else is encouraging you to attack with tons of guys, Commander in Boros? Iroas. He's right here. He's the third most popular one. He's the Theros god.
Oh yeah, he's the Boros god. Yeah, Kalemne's his disciple.
There we go.
Yeah.
Indestructible 7/4 for 4 creatures you control have menace. Creatures attacking don't take damage. Your creatures that are attacking don't take damage.
Yeah, so it's encouraging you to attack so your guys don't die.
Yeah. They have to be blocked by extra dudes or dudes that share colors with them. Either way, stupid. F that guy. Don't care about him.
So let's talk about our list, because our list isn't quite like that when you do the few tweaks that we are going to talk about.
One last thing. Let me read. What's her name?
Kalemne.
Kalemne. Let me read Kalemne real fast. Then I'm going to say a thing, and then we can laugh a little bit. Then we'll talk about it.
Oh, I know what you're going to say, and I'll just argue the same as I did before.
Kalemne, Disciple of Eros, is a 3/3 for red, white 2. Double strike vigilance. Whenever you cast a creature spell with converted mana cost 5 or greater, you get an experience counter. Kalemne, Disciple of Eros gets +1/+1 for each experience counter you have. So she gets experience counters for casting 5 converted mana cost bros. Now, given all the things that we've already said about Boros, playing lots of dudes, cheap little dudes, token guys, going wide, da-da-da-da-da-da, Boros is the deck that gets to play the big fat fatties for experience counters.
This is not what I thought you were going to say.
The Izzet deck, you get experience counters for playing spells. The Simic deck works with +1/+1 counters.
On little guys, and it plays green.
Yeah. The Golgari deck works with your graveyard. When things go to the graveyard, you get a counter. You're doing what the guild does, not Boros.
No, they decided to change it up.
It's like, hey, red-white fans. Here you can do the exact opposite of what we've been supporting for the entirety of this game, and we're going to give you a really shitty deck to do it.
Yeah, but you're going to get a lot of sweet Lorwyn reprints that everybody wanted in Giants.
Yup.
Because Giant Tribal's so awesome.
Stink Drinker Bandit, baby.
Kalemne. You have her on the battlefield. You cast a 5-drop or bigger. She gets +1 equal to your experience counters. Now, that's important because she doesn't get a +1/+1 counter every time you gain an experience counter. That would be terrible. She gets +1/+1 for each experience counter you have.
That's pretty good.
I like it because if she dies and you cast her again, she is just that big. And remember, she got double strike. So really, when she attacks, she's a 6/3. If she gets +1/+1, she's an 8/4, right?
That's pretty good, yeah, solid.
So 8/4 for 4?
Not bad at all.
On turn 4 or 5, like with some rocks, if you cast her on 3 and then a 5-drop on turn 4 and swing, you're swinging for 8 commander damage.
That's not terrible.
It's not terrible, okay? So
and she has Vig, too, doesn't she? I think she has Vigilance, too. I think I said that. I'm sure I said that. Yeah. So
yeah,
she can
and she
attack
blocks.
And block.
So she blocks as an 8/4 too, or a 6/3 or whatever.
Yeah, so she's a solid creature. She's not bad. It's the deck around her that's bad.
Well, let's see what we did here to spruce it up, if you will.
Okay, let's talk creatures. We're going to start off with one that I really like, with Avatar of Fury.
Yeah, so 8-drop, 6/6 with flying and fire breathing. But if an opponent controls 7 or more lands, it costs 6 less. But when you cast it, its converted mana cost is still 8, so it triggers Kalemne.
I like that.
So you get it for 2, albeit late game. This is a late game play, but you get it for 2 and you trigger Kalemne.
Do we play Avatar of Hope?
We don't, because I forgot it. But it too has a 6 mana discount that I'm sure would be great in the deck.
Yeah, and I think it has something to do with your opponent's life, so it's good in Commander because they're always going to have more life.
Oh yeah,
And I think that's how it works.
probably.
You know, we can look it up later, but she's not here. We both forgot about her until right now, so let's just keep going.
Put her in the deck though.
Next up, we have Bruna the Fading Light.
7-drop, 5/7, flying Vig. When she enters the battlefield, get a human or angel from your graveyard to your battlefield. So that is what we would call reincarnation or In other words, card advantage in white. You're triggering Kalemne, you're getting something back, you're getting a 5/7 body.
Next up, we have Captain of the Watch.
6-drop 3/3 with Vig. Lots of Vig, hey?
It's a Boros thing.
Yeah, okay. Other soldiers get +1 and have Vig. And when she enters the battlefield, you put 3 1/1 white soldiers into play. Soldier sub-theme in the deck.
Kalemne is a soldier, also.
Very excellent.
So that's the thing.
When you cast, what's her name? Captain of the Watch, it'll trigger Kalemne and then make her bigger anyway. So it'll make her go from a 3/3 to a 5/5.
That's good.
Yeah, and then you can attack with her for
10.
Sweet.
Yep, 10's bigger than 6. Next up, we have Dawnbreak Reclaimer.
6-drop 5/5 Flying Angel. So another angel for your Bruna the Fading Light or whatever her name was.
And your girlfriend.
Yeah. At the beginning of the end step, choose a creature card in opponent's graveyard. They choose one in your graveyard, and both you guys get those creatures back.
That's kind of cool.
It's card advantage. It's not card advantage, it's card parity because you're both getting something, but we've got some kind of cool enter the battlefield abilities, so cool.
These goofbag parity effects definitely made me win a game during our last EDH session when Alex Skullwindered all of my ramp cards back into my hand.
Skullwinder, Alex, cut it.
Next up, we have Dream Pillager.
4/4 for 7, Flying Dragon. When Dream Pillager deals combat damage to a player, you exile that many cards from the top of your library and you can cast them until end of turn. So that is like that red chaos draw. You exile them, so if you don't cast them, they're gone. But you'll see with the amount of mana rocks we have in here, you'll probably be able to cast them.
But you do have to pay for them. They're not free, right?
And you can't play land.
Worse.
Because you have to cast them. Yes, you have to pay for them.
Next up, Amiria Shepherd.
Ooh, 7-drop 4/4 Flying Angel. So there's another angel landfall. When a land enters the battlefield under your control, you bring a creature from your graveyard to your hand. If that land is a plains, you put it directly into play. And I like this one with lots of mana rocks because you can drop, let's say, a mountain and then cast your 5-drop so you trigger Kalemne. Or, if you just want it right now, drop a plains, boom, get it back.
I've never really looked at this card close up before. I kind of like the picture.
Very nice picture, especially for your girlfriend's angel deck.
That's right. Speaking of cards with art that I super like, Atali Primal Storm is up next.
Oh, yeah. I actually like this card. I don't own one. Do you have one?
I have 4.
Hook a brother up. Because I assume that you have at least one foil one, and the other ones can be mine. Anyways, it's a 6/6 dinosaur, Elder Dinosaur. For 6, triggers Kalemne. When he attacks, holy.
Very important.
Yeah. Exile the top card of each player's library, then you can cast those cards without paying their mana cost.
Yeah.
You know what's awesome about that is, what if you're casting 5-drop creatures to trigger Kalemne with your Atali?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Super sweet. When he attacks, so like if Kalemne's also attacking, you haven't dealt damage, you cast all these cards from Atali, you could attack for like 8 more damage with Kalemne alone.
Yeah.
If everybody reveals a 5-drop creature.
Or you could remove all of their creatures or bounce all their stuff. Or there's all sorts of terrible things that you could do to them with Atali. Atali is so good.
Super, super top end. Love that card.
Next up, we have a Fury Stroke Giant.
Fury Stoke.
Fury Stoke. I like mine better.
Fury Stroke. Do not.
No.
Do not Google that.
Nope.
Anyways, he's a 5-drop 3/3 giant. So here's some giant tribal. When he enters the battlefield, other creatures you control get tap. This creature deals 2 damage, target creature or player until end of turn. They get that. So all these like soldier sub-theme type cards that give you soldier tokens, you cast your Fury Stoke Giant, trigger your Kalemne, and then tap all your soldiers to get rid of all their blockers, and then crash in.
It's pretty good. He's really good in the typical Boros strategy of go wide, lots of dudes.
Yeah, and you know what? I actually counted him as like a removal card, like a mass removal card, because you want to hold him until you have some number of soldiers to kind of go wide with. Yeah.
The one time I tried building a Boros deck, he was my way over things like Ghostly Prison and Propaganda.
Yeah, okay.
You can attack without attacking. Next up, we have Galvanoth.
Galvanoth, a little bit loose here because we're not playing a whole bunch of instants or sorceries. We're only playing 4 and 4, but he's a 5-drop 3/3. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may look at the top card of your library. If it's an instant or sorcery card, you may cast it without paying its mana cost.
Flex spot.
You know what? A little bit it is, but he does give you some reoccurring advantage in the colors, and he does trigger your commander. He could be just a 5/5 vanilla.
Okay, moving right along. Gisela, Blade of Gold Knight.
Okay, another 7-drop. So lots of 7-drops in the list, but she's a 5/5 flying first striker, doubles all damage dealt to opponents, halves all damage dealt to you. Super sweet.
That's excellent. What kind of creature is she?
She's a Boros angel that does everything else that your girlfriend's deck already is doing.
There we go. Next up, we have Glare Wielder.
What?
Glare Wielder.
What the hell is a Glare Wielder?
A Glare Wielder is a 3/1 for 5 elemental shaman with haste. When it comes into play, up to 2 target creatures can't block this turn, and it evokes for red 1.
There you go. So you cast it for red 1, but its converted mana cost is still 5.
Ooh, spicy.
Spicy, yeah. That's the kind of garbage that we want to dig out of the toilet in prison to play in our Boros decks.
Next up, we have Goblin Dark Dwellers. Speaking of toilets.
So it's a 5-drop 4/4 Goblin with Menace. Okay, fine. When it enters the battlefield, you may cast target instant or sorcery card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. So
not a lot of instants and sorceries in the deck, but I think that this might be a setup to the combo build that we talked about.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's not a lot we can do with this.
No, it does give you some advantage in this deck. Gives you 8 targets, but also as a 5-drop.
Okay, next
sweet.
up, Godo Bandit Warlord.
So here's our tutor. 6-drop 3/3 Human Barbarian. When he enters the battlefield, search your library for an equipment card and put it onto the battlefield. And his other thing is relevant to samurais, which he is not, and there isn't any in this list. He's a 6-drop, and he finds you an equipment. Cool.
Next up, Heartless Hidetsugu.
Heartless Hidetsugu. 4/3 for 5. Tap him. He deals damage equal to each player, equal to half that player's life total.
Nice.
So he just cuts somebody in half.
I have a rebuilding card suggestion for him later.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
Next up, we have Dinget Chewer.
Ingot Chewer, 5-drop 3/3, enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact, but evokes for 1.
Now we're talking.
Now, he evokes for 1. Remember, that's going to trigger Kalemne, but he also destroys an artifact. This got printed in a Commander product. This is a Commander card.
It's a great card.
Yeah.
It's, what is it, Shatter?
Yeah, I suppose.
Except if you're really hard up, you get a 3/3.
Yeah, for 5. 3/3, destroy an artifact for 5. That's probably fine.
That's not too bad. Next up, we have Knight Captain of Eos.
5-drop 2/2. Not a soldier, a knight, because it's on a horse, obviously. When he enters the battlefield, put 2 1/1 white soldiers into play, and you can pay 1, sack a soldier, and fog somebody.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Keeps you alive until you can start casting 5-drops, right?
Yeah. Next up, not a 5-drop, Magus of the Wheel.
Oh, too good and was original in the deck. I haven't been mentioning the originals that were in this deck, but this is one of them. It's a 3-drop 3/3 Human Wizard. Red, 1, sack, tap sack. Each player discards his or her hand, then draws 7.
Not a giant, not a 5-drop, not an attacking creature, nothing Boros, but they still included it in the precon. Good on you, Wizards.
Yep.
Next up, Mindclaw Shaman.
5-drop 2/2. When it enters a battlefield, you can choose an instant or sorcery from an opponent's hand and cast it without paying its mana cost.
Random, but okay. I played a Norn the Wary.
Exactly. You know what? It doesn't usually miss. I mean, you just target the blue player or whatever, or the black player, and maybe you can draw some cards off it. It itself is kind of like drawing a card because you're casting that card for free, right?
Next up, Mycosynth Golem.
Yeah. Okay, so this guy's like, whatever, 15 or 20 bucks or whatever he is. Kind of the top end of what we would expect in a precon, right?
Sure.
Okay, so 4/5 for 11. But wait, there's more, because that's terrible. Affinity for artifacts. So this spell costs 1 less to cast for each artifact you control. And artifact creatures spells you cast have affinity for artifacts.
So they become cheaper for all the artifacts you got.
Yeah, so he triggers Kalemne even if you cast him for 0, because his converted mana cost is still more than 5.
11.
Yes, that's far more than 5.
Yes.
That's more than double. The next guy, same exact thing, except for Mere Enforcer. He's a 4/4 for 7 with affinity for artifacts.
Next up, we have Oreskos Explorer.
Yeah. He's our lone mana dork. 2/2 for 2. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for X planes cards, where X is the number of players who control more land than you. So you reveal them and then you put them into your hand.
These decks don't usually come with a lot of ramp. I think that we may or may not get criticized by the nation for not including lots of ramp in a lot of these decks where there's lots of 5 and 6 and 10 drops. But Wizards doesn't give you a lot of ramp in these precons, so neither are we.
Yeah, they'll give you a few of the common mana rocks. Of course, Soul Ring, Mind Stone was in this deck originally. Thought Vessel, which was a Commander 2015 original. But other than that, I mean, there's that 6-drop that taps for 3 mana rock.
That doesn't even count.
That doesn't help you in a deck full of 5 and 6 drops.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Next up, Oxidia Golem.
Yeah, speaking of 6-drop. Affinity for Mountains. 6 mana, 3/2 haste, affinity for mountains. And he's going to cost not 6, and he's going to trigger Iroas. The next one?
Also badass art. Let's just talk about that for a second.
I think so.
That picture's badass.
Kind of got the hair like you.
Yeah, that's why it's badass. Next up, basically the same creature in Razor Golem.
Yeah, 3/4 Vig for 6, affinity for planes.
Next up, Sandstone Oracle.
It's a 7-drop 4/4. When it enters the battlefield, you choose an opponent who has more cards in hand than you, and you draw until you have the same number of cards.
That's good, like balance.
Yeah.
Except the
draw.
other way. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. Draw balance as opposed to like discard balance. Balance costs 2. Draw balance costs 7. What?
Now we can do Shard Phoenix.
Shard Phoenix, 2/2 Phoenix for 5, flying. You can sacrifice and deal 2 damage to each creature without flying. So he's like a mini board wrath, like a Pyroclasm.
Like a shitty Pyroclasm, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's a Pyroclasm that's going to trigger your Kalemne.
Yeah.
All right. And you can pay red, and return them from your graveyard to your hand to trigger Kalemne again.
During your upkeep.
It's
important.
That's right.
Next up, Spite Bellows.
Spite Bellow, 6-drop,
Ooh.
6/1. When it leaves the battlefield, it deals 6 damage to target creature. So this is a removal spell because actually it's got Evoke for red, 1.
Does it trample?
It doesn't.
Does it have haste?
Doesn't have that either.
This card sucks.
3 mana, trigger Iroas, kill something, swing in.
Sucks.
Not terrible.
Not Ball Lightning. It sucks. Next up, Stonecloaker.
Okay, now we're getting into the ones that I like. This is only a 3-drop, 3/2, flash and flying, and when it enters the battlefield, return a creature you control to its owner's hand, and when it enters the battlefield, exile a card from a graveyard.
He does all the things.
He does everything. Yeah. He's like a Swiss Army knife.
And he's white.
Yeah. He's going to exile somebody's graveyard card. Play your graveyard hate, kids, right?
Yep.
He's going to bounce one of your 5-drops.
Good.
And he's going to flash in. So you could flash him in and like get 2 triggers off your... Oh, no, because you can't cast Shard Phoenix during your upkeep. Maybe with like a Vidalcan Orrery you could, but balls that card's like $25.
Yeah. Next up, we have Stormfront Riders.
Ooh, 5-drop, 4/3 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, return 2 creatures you control to their owner's hand. So you can bounce 2 5-drops or your Stonecloaker to bounce your Stormfront Rider so you can do it again. See what we're doing there, kids? When he enters the battlefield or another creature is returned to your hand, put a 1/1 white soldier creature token onto the battlefield. So when you bounce him, or when you bounce anything, you get a soldier.
You get a replacement dude.
Yeah.
It's not terrible. So, I mean, you could technically, if you were really bad or just really wanted soldiers, you could just Stonecloaker over and over and over and over and over and over and over again to get a whole bunch of dudes. Remove a whole bunch of cards out of graveyards.
Exactly. Stonecloaker and Stormfront Riders, if you can generate a whole bunch of mana, you can bounce them in and out of the battlefield, in and out with one of the artifacts that we're playing and get a whole bunch of soldiers, and then you can cast your Fury Stoke Giant and tap them all.
Beat wholesale ass, baby.
Yeah.
Next up, Urabrask the Hidden.
This is how you do that combo that I just said. Remember? They don't have haste, you can't just tap them. Well, they do if they have Urabrask. He's a 5-drop, 4/4 Praetor. Creatures you control have haste, and creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped.
The least powerful Praetor, but definitely the one with the coolest picture. And I think he was the one that turned on the Phyrexians and ended up being a good guy.
Really?
I think so. I think one of them ended up being like a turncoat, and I think it was him.
Sure.
Anyway, next up, Victory's Herald.
6-drop Angel, flying, 4/4. When it enters the when it attacks, attacking creatures gain flying and lifelink. So he is like she is like a standard Boros card, but you do get some lifelink in there, which in a deck full of 7-drops is never going to hurt.
Yeah, and it makes your girlfriend love this deck.
Yeah.
Last creature in the deck, White Mane Lion.
2/2 for 2, flash. When it enters the battlefield, return a creature you control to its owner's hand. See Stonecloaker and Stormfront Riders.
Yes.
All right.
All right, that's our creature suite. Should we burn through some instants and sorceries? We've talked that we have 8 of them.
Instance?
Let's do it. Instance. Boros Charm.
White-red, choose one. Deals 4 damage to a player. Permanents you control get indestructible. Or target creature gains double strike. You're probably going to pick the indestructible one to save your guys from like a wrath effect.
Orm's Thunder.
It's a 3-drop, white 2. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Kicker of red. If the kicker cost was paid, if it was kicked, it deals damage to that permanent's converted mana cost to target creature. So you could off 2 things with it, right?
It's all right.
It gives you some extra reach, like a 2-for-1 kind of.
Dig those. Patricia's Scorn.
Patrician's Scorn. Here's a gem, hey, from Planar Chaos.
Future Sight.
Future Sight. Okay, sure. Oh, yeah, because it's got the funky border. White 3, instant. If you played another white spell this turn, you may play Patrician's Scorn without paying its mana cost. What?
Neat, hey?
Sure. What does it do? Destroy all enchantments.
Get wrecked.
So you go Orm's Thunder, kill your artifact and your dude. Patrician's Scorn, kill all your enchantments. Doesn't hurt us because we're only playing 1 enchantment. Spoiler.
Yeah. Excellent. Last instant. Swords to Plowshares.
That exiles a creature that used to be a crib swap, but this costs 1 and crib swap costs 3. Crib swap was the original. I think swords probably should get reprinted before crib swap because it's like kind of expensive still, despite having 800 printings. Sure, whatever.
All right, sorceries. Let's start with Breath of Derigaz.
2-drop, kicker of 2, deals 1 damage to each creature without flying and each player. If you kicked it, so total investment of 4, it deals 4 to each creature 4 to each creature without flying and player.
That's pretty good.
So all your guys are going to live because they're all like 5 drops and bigger, right?
How about Disaster Radius?
Another damage-based wrath spell that is going to make all your guys live. Red 5, as an additional cost to cast Disaster Radius, reveal a creature from your hand. Disaster Radius deals X damage to each creature your opponents control, where X is the reveal card's converted mana cost. 5, 6, 7, 11 if you're Mycosynth Golem reveal.
Why isn't this just a chain reaction? I get that maybe your Iroas will live, or whatever the hell their stupid name is. Our general might survive it, but like it's a wrath. Just count on your guys.
Yeah, I suppose.
And it costs less. Period.
Disaster Radius was in the stock Kalemne list.
Of course it was.
Yeah.
Of course it was.
Yeah, because you're paying 7 for all your giants. You might as well pay 7 for your wrath.
To kill all your giants. It makes it stupid. How about Martial Coup?
Speaking of paying 7 for a wrath. White X. Create X 1/1 white soldier creature tokens. If X is 5 or more, so total investment of 7, destroy all other creatures. So there's your soldiers sub-theme kind of coming in again. Remember, Fury Stoke Giant.
And last, and maybe least, Fiery Confluence.
Certainly not least. It's like $20, dude. It was only ever printed in this list. Red 2, choose 3. You can choose different modes for like more than once. You can choose any one mode more than once.
There you go.
It deals 1 damage to each creature, deals 2 damage to each opponent, destroy target artifact. So for 4 mana, destroy 3 things, deal 6 damage, or deal 3 to each creature. Or any combination of that.
It's not too bad.
Yeah, I like that card.
Let's do the enchantment real quick. Warstorm Surge. It's a red enchantment. Red 5. When a creature comes into play under your control, it deals damage equal to its power to target anything.
Sweet.
Works real good with Kalemne. Is that her name? Kalemne.
Yeah, Kalemne.
Said it so many times it's actually lost all meaning in my mind. All right, let's move on to some artifacts. There are a lot of them. Here we go. Starting off, big piece of equipment. Blade of Selves.
2-drop, equip for 4. Equipped creature has Myriad. Was in the original list, just gives you an additional value. It's not going to trigger Kalemne, but does give you the value. And it does have some value itself. So
it's super good with that soldier that makes soldiers bigger and gives you soldier tokens.
Oh, yeah.
Because you attack with her, you get 3 more of them. All of your soldiers get plus 3+3 while they're attacking, which includes your general, and you get all those tokens.
Yeah, that's actually really good.
That's a tremendous, tremendous way of beating wholesale ass. Next up, Boros. Okay, next up we have Cloudstone Curio.
Okay, remember the Stone Cloaker and the White Main Line and the things that bounce each other? This is what goes with that. Okay, so 3-drop artifact. Whenever a non-artifact permanent enters the battlefield under your control, you may return target permanent you control that shares a permanent type with it to its owner's hand. So you cast a creature and you bounce another creature. Now, what if your creature that you cast has a bounce ETB ability? ETB ability, yeah. You're going to bounce from Cloudstone Curio and bounce the thing that you played with its own ability. So you can keep playing stuff over and over and over, as long as you have the mana for it. And we're going to talk about mana rocks as soon as we're done the rest of the artifacts.
Grafted Exoskeleton is next.
Ooh, baby.
I didn't see this coming.
This is a CCO staple.
Yes, it is.
4-drop, equips for 2. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has infect. And when Grafted Exoskeleton becomes unattached from a permanent, sacrifice that permanent.
Wait. You mean to tell me it gets +2/+2 and infect?
Yes.
You mean to tell me that our general is a 3/3 with double strike?
Yes.
So it become a 5/5 with double strike and infect?
Yes. What?
Wow.
All you have to do is path or remove swords, one of their guy in the way, and they're dead.
We are dirt sandwiches.
Yeah, for sure. This is like deck 2 in this arc that has infect in it. Yeah. Sorry, everybody.
How about Lightning Greaves?
2-drop, 0 to equip. Equipped creature gets Shroud and Haste.
How about Mask of Memory?
2-drop, equips for 1. When equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you may draw 2 cards. If you do, discard a card. And that is a good way to draw cards.
That's really great with double strike, because you're going to draw 4, discard 2. That's pretty good.
Oh, yeah, that's even better. Lots of double strikers or whatever in the deck, right?
Next up, I have a suggestion for replacing this particular one, as much as I appreciate what you're going for here. Sensei's Divining Top.
Yeah, 1-drop. You tap 1, look at the top 3, put them back in any order. Good with Atali and or the Dream Stealer Dragon guy, because you can just
Dream Stealer Dragon, if he hits somebody, you're going to see 4 cards anyway, so it's going to go deeper than top 10.
That's right. Well, super good with Atali then, because that card needed to be better.
Yeah.
And you can also tap, draw a card, and then put Sensei's Divining Top on top of its owner's library to protect it.
How about Slate of Ancestry?
4-drop, pay 4, tap, discard your hand, draw a card for each creature you control. Pretty good with the Myriad Blade of Selves and that soldier that puts all those tokens into play. You know that one.
Yeah, that's the one. Yep. All right, let's talk rocks real quick. We got Boros Cluestone.
Taps for Boros colors.
Boros Cluestone.
3-drop, taps for Boros colors, draws a card.
Boros Key Rune.
3-drop, taps for Boros colors.
Boros Signet.
2-drop, taps for Boros colors.
Cold Stone Heart, or Cold Steel Heart.
2-drop, pick a color, taps for that color.
Commander Sphere.
3-drop, taps for any color, draws a card.
Mind Stone.
2-drop, taps for a colorless, draws a card.
Pearl Medallion.
2-drop makes white spells cost less.
Ruby Medallion.
2-drop makes red spells cost less.
Semblance Anvil.
Screech! 3-drop, imprint. When Semblance Anvil enters the battlefield, you may exile a non-land card from your hand. Spells that share a card type with that card cost 2 less. So you just exile a shitty creature that you don't need anymore, and all your big guys cost less.
Sol Ring.
1-drop, taps for 2.
Star Compass.
2-drop, taps for 1.
Thought Vessel.
2-drop, taps for 1.
Thran Dynamo.
4-drop, taps for 3.
Worn Power Stone.
3-drop, taps for 2.
Boom, did it.
Wow, those are quick hits, everybody.
And that's the deck.
The point is with the mana rocks, real quick, is that there are 15 of them.
There are lots of them.
Yeah, and there could be much more with some of our suggestions that we have.
It's a throwback to when we did that Azorius aggro deck, when we did the Azorius Angelic aggro deck.
Yeah.
Where we just had to do all those rocks so we could just ramp up to 5 really fast so we could actually play things.
Yeah, that's right. A couple stats that we've got here for everybody who's keeping track. Now, card draw or some form of card advantage that gives you that chaos draw or something, right? There's 12 different things that are going to net you real card advantage. That's lots for a Boros deck. Super sweet. Targeted removal, 3, little bit low, but we've got 6 things that can off a whole bunch of creatures at once.
Very good.
Including Fury Stoke Giant and Martial Coup and that kind of thing.
Those things are becoming a little bit less efficient in EDH as the format becomes faster. Still good.
Yeah, for sure. Never a bad thing to kill everything. Okay, couple other things or stats that I like about this deck is ways to make things cheaper. This is like your affinity and your evoke guys, there's 7 of those that let you kind of cheat on Kalemne's cast ability.
Dig that.
And with a 4.2 average converted mana cost, you need to cheat as much as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Things that let you cast stuff for free or cheat spells from your opponents or whatever. There's 6 of those. And those are going to let you cheat Kalemne's ability sometimes too. Sometimes you got to get lucky, like with a Tali off of somebody else's library giving you a 5-drop, but it's never...
You're already pretty lucky because you're playing a Tali, and that's just awesome.
Yeah, a Tali with no way to find him or draw him. Stupid Boros. And then bounce creatures. You remember that synergy with Cloudstone Curio? There's 3 of those. And when we get to a couple of the suggestions, there's at least
one more.
There's at least one more.
Yeah. Okay, so we've kind of done the deck. Now, usually we kind of leave the land base alone. Have you done anything to this one?
I think it's like almost exactly the stock list, except I took out like a couple mountains and a couple plainses or whatever. I put in a Daru encampment, which is consistent with our soldier sub-theme.
Right. It taps for colorless or white and tap it. Target soldier creature gets +1/+1 till end of turn.
Yeah, no secret for soldier, tribal, or whatever. And I think it's important to note that with all of the mana rocks, if you do draw a land that you don't need, there are a ton of cycling lands in the deck. It plays the Urza's ones like Drifting Meadow, and then it plays the Onslaught ones like Forgotten Cave, and then it plays the colorless one, Blasted Landscape. So there's like 5 cycling lands, and there's, I think, 7 total that you could play in Boros. So
just keep going. What else do we got in here that's been changed?
Oh, CCO staple.
Rogue's Passage.
Yeah, not bad when your commander has Infect.
Taps for a colorless or 4 and it. Target creature can't be blocked this turn.
Yeah, and screw Infect. I mean, we could just make Iroas like an 11/11.
Kaladimi. What's her name?
Oh, yeah. Kalemne.
Kalemne.
Kalemne, disciple of Iroas.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're both kind of right. So, okay, I think for the most part, CCO Nation has an idea of how to play the deck, but I think it's important to note that there's 11 feasible 2-drops. Turn 1 is like tap land go, right?
It's a wash. It's tap land or the occasional land Sol Ring.
Yeah, 1 out of every 100 games.
Yes.
And turn 3, if you had your turn 2 mana rock, you could do turn 3 Kalemne because she's only a 4-drop. Okay, cool. Turn 4, play a big beater, start ticking up Kalemne. And I think that we should get right into some of our suggestions because while they are going to add a ton of monetary value to the deck, they are also what I like about it and why I think that this is actually the deck that could have been.
Something we should note before we talk about, now that we're talking about the budget a little bit, when we build these decks for the purposes of this arc, we're building them as if they could have been pre-constructed decks. That's why you're not seeing all these crazy mana bases and you're not seeing every great card that's a staple in the colors and all that kind of stuff. It has to be stuff that Wizards could feasibly print in a pre-released Commander product that's going to cost you between 40 American and 200 Canadian dollars.
Yeah. And I think so far in the arc, this is the 3rd episode, we've said, like $20 is kind of the top end of what we could expect. I put a Sensei's Divining top in here. I think that top should have been in the top of the Library Matters Aminatu deck.
Absolutely,
from this
it should
year,
have
right?
been.
So I put it in this one because, I mean, synergy with a Tali is awesome.
Yep. And, it's kind of like how I put Windgrace in last week's deck, where it's just, it should have been there.
Yeah.
Should have been better.
Speaking of last week's deck, Prosh was kind of the unexpected gold star winner from 2013.
Yeah.
Right? And the Animar, not the Animar deck, not the Prosh deck, but Animar was kind of the hero from 2011. He got his competitive list. Prosh got his competitive list. Azuri from 2015 and Mizzix of the Ismagnus got their kind of tuned lists, right? I think Kalemne could have been that unsung hero from this year because a little ditty called Paradox Engine was printed.
Of course. Of course. We have to make this deck better. You put a Paradox Engine in it.
I agree.
God
and
damn it.
While not spicy, super fun because you can sit down with a Paradox Kalemne deck and just shit all over everybody, like we said at the top of the show.
And everybody can... You got your bounce creatures, you got your Paradox Engine. Whenever you play a spell, you untap all non-land permanents you control.
Yep.
You have 17 rocks, Bouncy, giants big, die.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll ever print Paradox Engine again.
Not a chance.
And then, of course, some reserved list nightmare-type cards, Mana Vault, Mana Crypt, everything that goes in those competitive EDH decks, right? Like the Grim Monolith, right? Hundreds of dollars for these 3 mana rocks.
The fast mana, yeah.
And Paradox Engine, right? So I want to build that deck just because I love Animar. Okay, here's no secret. Animar is my favorite commander. Why did I build Rakdos, Lord of Riots? Rack Daddy. He's just like Animar. He's Raktamar. This is Kalemne. It's like in order of shittiness, they go Kalemne, Rakdos, Animar. Like, obviously.
I would think it would go like Kalemne, Zuriklov, Progress. Because she's not even related. Yeah. This one's so shitty. But yeah,
no, I got you. Kalemne, a pile of dog crap, Rakdos, and then Animar.
There you go.
That's the order.
Yeah.
But imagine if you beat somebody with something that's shittier than a pile of dog crap.
It's shittier than actual shit.
Yeah. And I'm going to just Kalemne the crap out of everybody. It's going to be so awesome. Real suggestions for the deck, though. If you're not trying to combo, if you don't want to spend hundreds of dollars on mana rocks, if you're playing Boros, love me some land tax.
Land tax is good.
Recently reprinted in Battle Bond, got down to $25. 1-drop enchantment. During your upkeep, you search your library for up to 3 lands, put them into your hand if somebody has more land than you.
Dig it.
Probably not hard if you're playing a green player. It's going to help you punish. And if you have your Amaria Shepherd, you always have something to get back.
Yeah.
Goes really good if you're doing like Ashnod's Altar and Phyrexian Altar from last week. And like Second Sunrise, that gets everything back that you sacrificed this turn back into play. And then you can just start rebouncing again with your Paradox Engine and Mana Rocks. Yeah, dude. Real suggestion. Inheritance, one of my favorite gems from Ice Age. 1-drop enchantment in white. Whenever a creature dies, you can pay 3 to draw a card.
White card draw.
Yeah, nobody plays that card. Joel's like, F you, Joel. Joel's like, oh, it's terrible. Just play anything else. No. 3 to draw a card every time a creature dies?
It's not too bad.
Yeah.
It's not horrible.
It's good. What do you got? You had some suggestions. What do you got?
I do have some suggestions. We're playing what boils down to, in this list, combo aside, we're playing a Voltron deck. You take out Sensei's Divining Pot top and put in Jeet. Especially when your general has double strike.
Probably.
Because it hits somebody, it gets a counter, then you can take both those counters off to give your creature +4/+4 and just...
Hit him again.
And then get more counters.
And then get more counters.
Yeah, and then you can use those counters to remove blockers next turn. It's
double strike commanders with
Jeet on them.
Umezawa's Jeet, as some people say.
It's insane.
I like it.
It'll blow your balls off.
And what about the same price as Sensei's Divining Top?
Yeah, it's very close.
Rough. I think Jeet's actually a little bit more, but let's call them the same price.
We'll call them the same price for the purposes of this example.
Yeah.
Also, again, just kind of like cheapy things that they might put in. Nobilis of War makes your attacking creatures bigger. It's like a 5/4 for Boros. It's kind of a good creature. Could go good in here.
In Lenny Woolly-Broder's list that he sent, there was a Nobilis of War, and there was a couple other Kalemne Precon originals that made attacking creatures get bigger.
Just because you're attacking with your Kalemne, let's maximize that.
I thought of that, but I wanted to go the not Boros, let's turn everything sideways route, and that's what led me to the Kalemne combo route.
Totally, and I dig on that. I'm thinking precon. Next up, that rebuilding card I mentioned earlier, Scourge of the Nobilis. Boros 2, if the creature's red, it gets +1/+1. If the creature's white, it gets +1/+1. It also has Boros Breathing, which is red or white, fire breathing, and lifelink. Mm-hmm. So once you've Heartless Hitting Sugud and whacked everybody for half their life, you can swing in with your giant dude and gain all that life back.
Ooh, yep. I like it.
Good card in here. Next up, Flowstone Overseer. Now we're talking.
Flowstone Overseer.
Red 3, so triggers Kalemne, and it gives your creatures Flowstone Breathing for red. So red, target creature gets +1/-1.
That was Flowstone Breathing, that's right.
So it's a removal spell, and it makes your double striking general hit that much harder.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Okay.
And then just some creatures that you could have put in. Brian Stoutarm, we already kind of talked about.
Oh, yeah, you know what?
And tossin'.
I wanted to talk about Brian Stoutarm, and what was the guy from last week?
I think it was Bloodrock or Bloodshot Cyclops.
Bloodshot Cyclops, where you tap them to fling a dude. When you fling Kalemne, when she's like a 20/20 in this combo build I'm talking about, you cast her again
with
out of
rocks.
your command zone, and it'll untap your blood whatever.
Your Cyclops or your Stout Arm.
Or your Stout Arm, so you can do it again and again and again.
Crazy.
Yeah, and bonus points for Brian Stout Arm, A, because I have that deck, B, because he has lifelink. So you'll just gain life every time you fling your Kalemne. Take 20, I'll gain 20. Do it again. Take 20, I'll gain 20. You just win the game.
Even
right?
if you're not technically comboing, you can still keep yourself alive doing that.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, you could also play Treasonous Ogre if you're going to gain all that life, and then you can pay 3 life to get 1 red mana. He doesn't trigger Kalemne, he costs 4, but pretty cool.
Treasonous Ogre, super all-star in Zata Hedron Grinder. So he's a 3/3 for red 3 Ogre. Pay Menace, who cares? No, Dethrone, who cares? Pay 3 life, get a red.
Oh.
Yes! Pay, what is it? Pay 15, cast your 5-drop. Sounds terrible, but goes infinite with Ether Flux Reservoir, just saying.
Janky stuff, you could play it with that Scourge of the Nobilis. Hit once, gain some life, use that life to pump her to make her bigger for that second strike.
Yeah.
Just incremental damage, baby. That's what you want.
I like that.
And last, just creatures I thought just could be good. Karmic Guide gets your dudes back if they die. Let's rebuild after a Wrath. Also triggers Kalemne.
Yeah.
And Inferno Titan. Because he's a value house, especially with something like Blade of Selves, to get people the F out of the way for your Kalemne.
Yeah.
And he's a giant.
And he's a giant. Yeah, that's right. So if you're playing your Urza's Incubator, you still get cheap. He was in the original list, actually.
Cool.
Yeah.
Look at me go.
Yeah, I like that for sure. Okay. I dig those suggestions. I like the reach that you get. Not real reach, but air quotes reach that you get in the Boros deck from having that and making Kalemne hit harder. For sure. Strengths and weaknesses.
Strengths and weaknesses.
It's fun. It's unique. It's political. Are those synonyms for like bad?
Yes.
Oh, damn it.
Yes.
Okay. Can kill out of nowhere. That's
like an
not
RKO.
bad.
That's not bad.
Yeah, like an RKO out of nowhere. Now, I think the original Kalemne list, trying to get up to 6, 7, 8 mana, didn't have the kill out of nowhere ability.
No, it just got you out of 4, 5, 6, and then you could cast things that cost 4, 5, and 6 that did not win you the game or advance you really in any way.
If nothing else, Godo Bandit Warlord into Grafted Exoskeleton is your win the game out of nowhere. You could cast either of those things. If you have Godo Bandit mana, you could cast and equip your Grafted Exoskeleton. Or if you have Godo, you just cast it and you get your Grafted Exoskeleton and you equip it for 2 more. Like, it wins out of nowhere if somebody doesn't have blockers.
You kill somebody with it.
Yeah.
It's instant death on a stick.
And then if you just have a big enough Kalemne and Heartless Hidetsugu, you just cut somebody in half and then kill them, right? So, I mean, it's got that win out of nowhere potential now, which before it didn't. Budget friendly.
Definitely.
The list, even with like the Sensei's Divining Top and blah, 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 everything all together, 156 American. And that includes Mycosynth Golem, that includes keeping Fiery Confluence in there. And you could definitely cut that for like an actual Wrath of God that costs like $5 instead of 20.
Yeah.
Right? So
Fiery Confluence is expensive because it's modal and was only printed once. If this was reprinted anywhere, it would cost $4.
yeah, exactly. And it does have a little bit of reach as is because you've got big creatures to kill someone and then you've got Kalemne to kill someone else. It does have that reach now where before it didn't. But at the same time, moving over to weaknesses, it does suffer from potential aggro problem, potential infect problem, right?
Potential Boros problem where
you don't draw your God hand, you don't have that reach, or you do infect somebody and then the whole table just ganks you.
like if you're not playing the infect plan or Ryan's combo plan, at the end of the day, it's still a Boros deck. And Boros decks typically are worse than every other deck. and yeah, that sounds like I'm kidding. Try it. Build a Boros deck that isn't a combo list. Just see how good you do.
Yeah.
Sit down with equal decks of equal power and just get rolled.
Yep. I got one here for you. This is a weird weakness that maybe is unique to Boros decks because I think all of the other colors or color combinations can draw cards. Like black can, blue can,
Green
red
can.
green can, white can, red kind of can.
Ish,
sort of. Needs mana base to be optimized, but it relies on land for some advantage. It's got scry lands, it's got cycling lands, it's got what's the one that gives you a +1/+1 counter? Opal Palace to make Kalemne bigger. It's relying on its land for some of its advantage. And if you optimize the mana base so you can start casting your combo rocks on turn 1, you lose all those comes into play tapped lands that give you an ability for, shocks and duels and fetches and blah, blah, blah that just give you the mana.
And not only does it jack the price way up, it also makes you lose some of that incremental advantage that we've talked so much about. Your teetering peaks in this deck cost you a quarter. It gives you 4 more commander damage just for playing a land, and that's pretty cool.
Take it with a grain of salt. I mean, if you're trying to play a Boros combo deck, good on you.
Yeah.
I know I'm probably going to. If you're going to try and play Kalemne like aggro style with some reach like Brando suggested, good on you because she's terrible. If you can make it work, you let us know.
Yeah.
Milk list?
How about instead we do card of the week?
What do you think this week?
How about this week we go Patrician Scorn?
Oh, yeah. From, what did you say, Future Sight?
Future Sight. Never been reprinted.
Still only 20 cents. Foil's $2 or like 45 Canadian.
I actually have a foil of this.
Oh, yeah?
The reason it costs $2 is because it's really nice. It's got a ghost on it, and the ghost is foil, and the frame has a cool foil on it, and the background that's really dark. Not a lot of foiling, so it just looks really cool.
Neat.
That's why I bought it. It's an instant for white 3. If you played another white spell this turn, you can play it for free. Destroys all enchantments.
Sweet.
Underplayed, I think.
I think so when people play Destroy All Enchantment cards. Maybe Parasaline costs like 3 and it gains you a life for each enchantment destroyed.
There are better, but
That's fine.
This is for free.
I like this because you can leave up Path or Swords mana and then just cast it if you need to cast it.
Yeah, wreck your guy. Oh, by the way.
Worst case scenario, it's instant speed Destroy All Enchantments for 4.
Which is basically what Destroy All whatever costs anyway.
Yeah, but this is instant speed.
Yeah.
So if Destroy All Enchantments costs 3, this costs 4, but it's an instant.
I dig it.
And it has a bonus of being free. Super sweet. I love this card. I like it. I'm glad I found it. I searched for a whole bunch of cost-reducing and cheap things like the affinity for mountains and plains things and the masks block cast for free and the evoke cards. So that's where I found a bunch of these, and that was one of the ones that came up. Doesn't trigger Kalemne, but is super cool because it's still free, and that's never a bad thing.
Real quick before we go on to the milk list. Another suggestion that I actually had for this deck with Blade of Selves and in the give reach by making Kalemne bigger, Bogarden Rager. It's a 3/4 with flash. Cool.
Dude, my face just contorted when I read that. Yeah. When you said Blade of Selves, I went, "Wah!" in my head.
And it's red 5 for a 3/4 elemental. When Bogarden Rager enters the battlefield, target creature gets +4/+0 until end of turn.
So you cast that, and it triggers Kalemne because it costs 6.
Yep.
Then you equip it with Blade of Selves.
Yep.
And attack with it.
And you get, let's say, 3 more. Now your Kalemne's at least 16 something with double strike. Like, you ever wanted to wipe your ass with somebody's face? That's how you do it. Yeah.
That is literally my favorite thing to do when I play Boros, just to say that I did it. Super sweet. Milk list?
Let's do that milk list.
Okay, so the milk list, as per EDHREC.com, is a list of cards by converted mana cost from 0 all the way up to really high that are the most common cards played in that color. Pairing, combination, whatever. Today, Boros or...
Red-white.
At the 0 drop slot, Everflowing Chalice.
Nope.
No. Soul Ring at 1.
Yes.
Boros Signet at 2.
Yep.
Sunforger at 3.
Nope.
No. Return to Dust at 4.
Nope.
Assemble the Legion at 5. There's a... I hate that card.
Nope.
I like it, but I hate it.
Yeah.
Shut up. Sun Titan at 6.
Nope.
That's probably a fine one. Gisela at 7.
Yes.
Yes, we are playing that. Avacyn I would like to play, but she costs too many monies.
And no.
No. Blasphemous Act? Nope.
Nope.
Kozilek?
Nope.
Metalworker Colossus. Or Metalwork Colossus.
No.
That one actually costs less, doesn't it? If you have big dudes, he costs free.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good one in here, actually.
Yeah, that would actually be pretty good.
He's just free.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. I like that one. That one should go in. Blightsteel at 12.
Nope.
No. Emrakul.
Nope.
Other Emrakul.
Nope.
3 milkless matches.
Pretty good.
Not terrible.
Not terrible at all.
For sure. And the final parameter of spice, the spice calculator.
The spice calculator.
So popularity of this commander, there's 475 Kalemne lists on EDHREC.com.
She's the 6th most popular Boros commander.
Yeah. Right behind my boy Brian Stoutarm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him for sure. Anyways, 4.21 average converted mana cost, which seems high, but remember, you've got those evoke guys and the affinity guys, so
Lots of rocks, lots of
it's not terrible. The critical turn in the list that we made, 6, as high as it can go.
Yeah.
Right? So, and the optimal game size, if you're playing a political game, you typically want more players in that game. 5-player game.
Probably.
Yeah, and it's pretty casual. I mean, direct as much attention away from you as you can with this deck until you can actually do something with Kalemne.
You are not a threat for the most part.
Yeah. 1 tutor in Goro Bandit Warlord.
Right?
I would love to play an Enlightened tutor, but didn't. It wasn't on budget, and it also was another tutor.
Right.
And those don't come in precons, really. Uniqueness rating. Cards different than the stock Kalemne list on EDHREC.com. 38 cards.
Nice.
Punch it all in. Beep, boop, 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 boop. Spicy rating, 60.1.
There it is.
60.1. And
Got there.
You know what? If you cut a bunch of the cards that are in this and added a bunch of those mana rocks to make combo Kalemne, it actually goes up. So you cut some of like the standard stuff that was in the stock list that I kept, like Blade of Selves and stuff like that doesn't combo you, and it actually goes up to like 65.
Nice.
So
You passed the 50 test with honors.
you get this dirty, janky, degenerate combo deck, and your spiciness goes up. That's like not common that happens.
That's your dream.
Yeah, that's my dream. That's why I started the show, to do that.
You are rock hard right now, I bet.
Yes.
That's the worst.
Yeah. It's just because it's the morning and I have to pee. So anyways, that's the list. I guess CCO Nation, tell us what you think.
Yeah, let us know on Twitter. Who wore it better? CCO or Watsy?
Hashtag who wore it better, us or Watsy.
We're cleaning up so far. We're 3 for 3.
Yeah.
2 for 2.
2 for 2.
2 for 2. I'm just counting this one as a win because
Yeah,
goddamn, it was so
counting
bad
it.
before we got a hold of it. How can we lose?
Counting it. Run over our giveaway one more time and give us your final thoughts of the day.
The giveaway. If you would like to win a Commander 2018 pre-constructed deck of your choice, all you have to do is help us spread the show. That's a like, a share, a follow on Facebook or Twitter or on Podomatic if you want to go there. Just help get us out there and you'll be entered to win. You also, if you're a patron, you will receive extra entries based upon your patronosity, as per always. And we'll be doing that draw at the end of the arc in a couple of weeks, and we will be giving that deck away to a lucky winner. As for my final thoughts of the day, I love red and I hate white. Oddly enough, that doesn't mean that I both love and hate Boros. I just hate Boros because it's terrible. Even though it does what I like to do in Magic, which is play lots of dudes, turn them sideways, and swing for obscenely high numbers of damage. But for some reason, it just feels bad when you're doing it with Boros. And when people were suggesting, you guys got to do this deck, I was like, I don't wanna because I hate it. I already hate it. I don't even remember what's in the precon. But I hate it.
You haven't even died to Kalemne combo yet, and you hate it.
Yeah, and I hated it. I still kind of hate it, but you know what? This is a fun deck. I like that we took something that is so niche. Even the people who invented the game can't come up with something inventive to do with this tribe, and we did it. Right here on CCO Nation, and we are going to come back with another episode of Commander Cookout Podcast, and we're going to do it again. Now hit our theme song! Woo!